So welcome to our very first 10-minute tip. We're looking at the conferences tool, and I'm Tyler Watts. I'm the director of the Center for Teaching Excellence. And just happy that we have some faculty here today to watch this presentation. We'll take about 10 minutes just to introduce some of the basics of conferences. And then if you've got questions, if you want to follow up, you're always free to contact us and we can explore how you might be able to use this in your classes, particularly your online classes. So a word about the conferences tool. This is something that you already have in Canvas that's available to you. So at any point, if you want to start exploring this tool, what I would recommend is take an old course that you're not using anymore, maybe from a few semesters back, and you can create a conference session in that course and be able to experiment with it without worrying about current students coming into that conference or being confused by it. So a couple things I wanted to talk about just before we look at the tool itself, why you might want to use conferences or what reasons you might want to consider the use of conferences in your classes, particularly if you're looking at your online courses. If you're looking for a way to have virtual office hours or a time where you're available for students to come in and check in and see what's going on this week or any questions they might have, then you might want to consider conferences for that reason. You might also, maybe if you've got a big paper coming up or a big group project and you want to have a session for people to come in and ask questions, have a special information session just for that specific topic. And then the other area, which is we're getting a little bit more advanced because you're requiring students to interact with the conference tool, is having collaboration areas for students. So if they're working on a group project or they're doing something that requires kind of a deeper level of collaboration that email can't provide, then conferences is a possibility there for students to be able to work together in a live synchronous environment. So that's another possibility. With all of these, one thing that we can do as the CT is kind of help you in terms of thinking about what you would need to put in your course to provide support for students to be able to join conferences. It's pretty straightforward, I hope, in terms of for all of you getting into the conference today, but just thinking about those students who have technical issues, students who would, that would be a challenge for them to get on and set up their audio, those kind of things. So any way that we can help create those documents or those tools to help you help your students, we're happy to do that. One of the things I wanted to cover of just beyond why you might want to use conferences is to consider why you might not want to use conferences. Really thinking about anytime you want to deliver content that's something that you want to keep for long term. So if you're going over a lesson on one of your content areas and that's something that you want to reuse over and over again, then conferences is probably not going to work for that. Anything kind of long term, you can record conferences at the moment, but it only lasts for about 14 days. So there's some limitations there. So if you're looking at creating video content, we have some other suggestions there, and conferences might not be your best tool. But anything where you have kind of a need to check in with students, connect with students in a live manner, then definitely conferences would be a good tool to consider. Just to kind of tell you about the technical background, so conferences in Canvas, if you go down to your sidebar, you should see the conferences tool. And when you click on that, you'll actually see a page that opens like this, and it should be blank. You won't see anything in this area where new conferences or concluded conferences, but you will see a button up in the top right that says Add Conference, and you can click on that and begin creating a conference. Now, as I recommended, probably you want to do this in a concluded course, something that's happened in the past if you want to experiment with this, because you don't want your students confused by what is this conference? Is it something I have to do? So just to be thinking about that if you do want to play with the conference tool. Once you click on adding a conference, so you'll see a few different settings. You can put a name, so you could put virtual office hours here. In terms of type, there's only one type. You can have conferences that have a certain duration, so after a certain time, they'll expire, and they'll go in that concluded conferences area. You can enable recording, so if you have information session and people can't make it, you know that if you record it, that they would be able to see that recording within the 14 days afterwards. You can also set up a conference with no time frame. So this would be good if you've got ongoing office hours. You would just want to put an announcement saying, I'm going to have a conference available on Mondays from 7 to 8 every night. So if you can drop in and you can ask questions, and that will just be ongoing. You can put in a description, and then you can invite either all the students in your course, or you can invite select students. Let's say if I'm working with here SWU student 4, Smith, if they're having some trouble with an assignment and I want to talk to them specifically about their assignment or give them specific feedback, I can invite just that student, and no one else will see that conference, so it's only that the student you've invited will see it. So you can speak freely with them about issues related to their grades or their assignment, and not have to worry about any violations there in terms of confidentiality. Do be careful, of course, if you're inviting all the course members about what you say, particularly if you're recording it. So if a student is asking about a specific grade, then you'll want to be, well, we can talk about this over email, or I'll set up a separate conference just for us so that that information isn't shared with the whole class. Once you just click update, then that conference will be ready to go. And you'll see a button that says join for students. For you, you can start the conference. So as the instructor, you have the ability to say when the conference will start or end. This is the view inside of the conference tool. So this is what you're probably seeing similar to right now, but you'll notice there's a few different things for the presenter. So there's a sidebar right here with some tools that allows you to take your presentation and you can annotate it. You can circle things. You can put text, put shapes, so that will help students to know exactly what you're talking about in the presentation area. There's also, over here, you'll see the list of participants. So you'll see in our list, you can see that with all the participants here. There's a couple other things like this button right here. You can update your status. So this is a good way if you've got people who you just want to check in and make sure that they're paying attention or that there's no questions, those kinds of things. I could say, click on this button, and if you're hearing me okay, give me a smiley face. So if you can do that right now, that's something that you can do while in our own session today. So click on that little hand button over there and give me a smiley face if you can hear me okay. There's also some other tools here. So you can add content, you can do polls. There's a variety of things that you can do with the presentation mode. So one of the things in the presenter mode, you'll see this icon which allows you to add polls for a variety of things. You can also add presentations. The recommended file is a PDF, but it will take a Word document or PowerPoint and convert it into this presentation, similar to what I'm presenting here. Just to kind of demonstrate the poll question. So one of the things I'll ask you a poll is, do you currently offer any virtual office hours in your online courses? So just below those slides, you should now see a button that says yes or no. So go ahead and click if you're currently offering virtual office hours. So I see that information, what you selected, and then I can publish that. So you can see right here at the bottom, currently we have one person who's offering virtual office hours and 2 who are not. So there's a couple of tools in here that allow you to gauge student reactions or get some information that you can then display for them to see. So that's the basics of Conferences tool. I would like to stick around both to answer any questions, so you can put your questions in the chat box there, and also to give you a chance, if you want to, I can make you a presenter so you can see that array of tools available to you. There's a couple other resources, and I'll put those in the chat as well. So here is the Canvas guides related to conferences. And here is some videos put out by Big Blue Button, who is the company behind the Conferences tool. So if you want to explore that more. But we're very happy to help you think about how you might be able to use this, set up documentation for students that if you do want to use the tool, but you just are concerned about students being able to get in there and use it, or just anytime you want to set up a conference and have us kind of jump in and play around in the conference with you, we're happy to do that. So I hope this has been helpful. I'll go ahead and stop the recording, but if you've got any questions or you want to play a little bit more with the conference tool, then stick around and we can do that.